I'm not prepared. Hi friends, so, I really wish that I could say that I am very excited for this episode. I mean, I am, but at the same time, I am not excited for this episode, because every time I'm saying, oh, I'm a little emotional here, or I cry a little bit here, people are going, just wait till episode 10, just wait till episode 10, well, we're here now, thanks a lot, okay, gosh darn it, I'm not ready, Alright, well, leading up to this, there are no announcements to make. Just remember that we are diving into a place farther than the universe when Violet Evergarden is over, which is very soon, actually. We'll be done with it soon. And then Layback Camps will come out sometime, not at the same time, but shortly after the actual season ends. Season 2 of it ends, maybe a week or two after, and then the reactions will start kicking in for that. So I will kind of have 2 Anime Thursday animes going at the same time, which is kind of weird, but I really want to do Laid Back Camp as soon as possible, but I also want to wait till the series is finished, or season is finished. And then, of course, after that, we'll dive into a much longer series called Hibike Euphonium, and then somewhere along the way, Don't Touch My Isaac and K-On! will eventually, like, one of those will kick in somewhere. In terms of other anime reactions, Assassination Classroom is continuing along as usual. Nothing has changed there. And then, of course, I am saying this as I usually say, Mob Psycho 100 takes place immediately after. I do know that I think My Hero Academia Season 5 premieres in May, I believe. What does that mean? Will I wait for the entire season to finish? No, I'm not going to do that just because of how big that anime is. But I might hold off a little bit. I know it'll affect my views for my episodes, but I'm gonna hold off a little bit in terms of when to get my reactions out for that. Maybe a week or two after the fact, just because I kind of like the idea of what Tiyubu does, is that the reason he waits for seasons to be over, for seasonals and other stuff, because he doesn't, part of it's copyright monsters, the other part is not being a source of piracy. So, with the Pip reactions, and I kind of like that. I'm glad I watched that video of his. So, if you haven't figured out by now, I bring it up a lot. So much of how I do anime reactions is because of him. So, which is really great. And probably, if I ever get a Patreon, I'm going to try to pay attention. I don't support anyone on Patreon at all, in any regard, but if I did, I'd probably keep an eye on, like, how does he do it? In terms of what's behind the paywall, what's not, and so on and so forth. When that day, if that day comes, in terms of Patreon stuff. The only other thing I will mention is that I saw an anime list that there are 13 episodes, which makes a lot of sense for Violet Evergarden. However, I also seeing somewhere that there's 14. So is there an OVA out there, or like a mini thing, or is there like a episode 0 behind the scenes episode thing? Just because, one place says 13, but I'm also seeing 14, so just let me know, exactly how many episodes there are officially in the season, and why I might be seeing 14. What could that 14th episode be? I don't know if it's like a double, whatever, I don't know. Also, I wish these episode names were just a little better. Some of them don't even have names, or just, I don't know why, but other than that, that's all I have to say for administration stuff. This episode, I'm just, like, excited, but also, like, so much happened in the last 2 episodes, last 3 episodes, really, but so much in the last 2 episodes. I'm so glad I did those back to back. And this one, though, I am going to hold off and just do episode 10 by itself, mainly because it's really late. I've had a lot of schoolwork to catch up on. I'm trying to get as much done as I can before spring break kicks in, which is really in the winter. But I just want to be able to get as much done and plan it out. So only episode 10 is going to be today. You're not going to get episode 11 later on today. That'll be episode 11 and 12 will be next week. Maybe 13. I'll see how it goes. I'll record my reactions, and then based upon what the episode content is, I'll publish accordingly. And then I'm hoping, other than that, in terms of the live action reactions, I can bring that up on other videos. That's not important for this one. So if you're watching on YouTube, there is absolutely no sound, partial images. It keeps, for these videos anyway, it keeps the copyright monsters at bay, which is great. And also, but if you want to see a version, there's a link below. You can click on that for sure. But of course, I always encourage you guys, please, please, please watch the episodes first. Somewhere else, not here, please. And then the reaction, please. I don't want to be a source of just bad behavior. But if you're watching on YouTube, because you can't get a hold of that site for whatever reason, you know, like I said, no sound, partial image, but there is a countdown timer, and because there is no halfway point for this episode, there's no halfway pause, so there's no pausing. We're gonna go straight through. There's a countdown timer if you wish to follow along. That's what I wanted to get to, and without further ado, let's dive in. I've been using this chair so much, I've got cracks in the pleather now. Ooh. Oh no. Is there a reason that doll looks so much like Violet-ish? Uh-oh, we're getting early credits. We're not gonna get the intro, are we, in this episode? It's gonna be one of those episodes. Ah, there's Violet. With her parasol. Really big. She is very doll-like, and kind of doesn't help that. Oh no, that's affirming. But I was like, she is a lot like her doll. Yeah, no intro. Whoa, it's gonna be one of those episodes, huh? Uh-oh, sick mom. Ooh, slightly odd woman. Ooh, look at the mom. That doll. Oh gosh, is she running up like a wheel or something? What are you going to do with this mansion? Oh. No, they offered to take care of her, but the lady, the way she looked, I don't know, around her mouth just made me think like, I don't think I like her. Oh, did you see the way her eyes shifted color when she tilted her head down? So good. So good. She talked. I like Anne's reaction, sir. It's very cute. So we're definitely in winter because the trees are just stripped. We're not quite, not quite snowy yet. So maybe, but we got snow earlier, so maybe it's moving into kind of spring? She's drinking. I'm glad she said it like that. She thinks she's a real doll. It's cute. Ooh, that's a long time. Not just a letter for 7 days. It's more than that. It might be letters. Is it the dad? Well, if the dad's not alive, he might have been killed in war. Ooh, she's telling her to stay out. I keep missing things. I've got to pay attention. Oh, yeah. Oh, her chest. Does she have heart problems? She's gripping her chest like that. I would assume you would have heart problems if you did that. I was thinking, I was like, wow, she was laying down, so the mom might want to sit down. Yeah, that's not true. The other way, the redness and the tiredness around her eyes was like a redness. I know grown-ups trying to do their best to protect the kids and not make them feel sad or upset, but you just can't keep hiding stuff from kids because they are gonna notice things. They're not stupid. And they pick up way more than you think. But I guess to a certain level, I know that because they don't quite understand what death is, and even some adults don't. Hmm. That's hard to explain sometimes to the kid in a way that they can absorb it. I mean, even when family members of my mom and dad passed when I was young, I didn't understand what death was. I didn't understand what I was looking at when I looked at a coffin. But there is this kind of idea that they won't return. Of course, reacting to like a distant relative is different than reacting to your parents. Well, like the little highlights in her hair. It's so cool. Look at her little cheeks when she's like there. They kind of get red like her mom's does. I see. I like how she's hopping in excitement. That will be good for her to kind of, I don't know, connect with her. Does anyone else feel like the same female voice actress who plays old ladies is like in so many animes? I feel like I've heard her voice twice in this one so far. A little bit of a temper tantrum. It's a lot of letters. Letters. That letter. I like you saying, it's my job. I have to do this, but also she's a little young, but also she's just trying to eavesdrop. She doesn't know what that means yet. So I think she's writing multiple letters. Ooh. Oh, she looks so. Oh, Okay. I do like how the daughter has very. Oh, she's doing upkeep on her arms. We've never seen this before. I like that. It's a very nice room she has. Adjusting my arm. It needs its upkeep. She's. You probably done more, huh? Yeah. Again, the way it's not her hands this time, but I do love the moments where you see these little movements from her. So you should be in bed too, Missy. Erica is the one I forgot last episode. I love her little smiles. Those moments of genuine affection. Little kid logic. I'm gonna start bawling in the last part of this episode, huh? Oh, the way her hair kind of floated, but I like how we're getting that moment where she's looking in the doll's eyes and we see how reflective her eyes are because of just there's life in there, but how not reflective her doll's are. She's reading to hers. Why does she have a pan in her hand? Oh, she was hiding the pan. She's like, what kind of pan? Ooh. So when she's not with the mom, she's constantly hanging out with her. What kind of, if it's one letter, what kind of letter is she writing? It takes 7 days to work on. So we've established that Violet has, what, like one outfit? Though it seems like Kelly and some of the others have also one outfit. she knows what's going on. She, like I said, emotionally, she may not mentally understand what's happening, but she does emotionally understand what's going on. She knows her time with her mom is short, coming to an end, and she will lose her mom. If that's one of those ceramic dolls, like those China dolls, I'm just, okay, that table with the whole leaves thing is making me twitchy. And it's her heart. She does not understand what's going on. Ooh. Now she's upset. Mm. Don't. Mm-hmm. Again, like I said, I told you, you can't lie to a kid. Gosh. Told you, mentally she doesn't understand what's going on, but she does understand what's happening. I do love these moments when the camera, because of the emotion, ooh, poor thing, because the emotions, what's going on, other stuff, that the camera is shaky. It kind of shakes slightly, like as if the person holding the camera is going through some emotions as well. It's very good, of course. Yeah. Told you, kids aren't stupid. I love how they're in this center and how balanced it is. Gosh, just. Which we learned about last episode, or reiterated. Ooh, that was quite a transition there. Again, I love the fact that we see so much of this not through Violet's eyes, though we did last episode, but even then a little bit through Gilbert's, but through everybody else's eyes. Now, last 2 episodes, actually for the first time ever, we saw things through Violet's eyes, and those are the most painful episodes, of course. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, she's alright. No. So yeah, she did write multiple letters. Just say the way she curled her little fingers around Violet's coat. That was so cute. So we're kind of looking back on some things, aren't we? Mm. 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 Oh, okay. Dang it! Snuck up on me. So wow, so Violet's been doing this for a while then. Oh. Wow. Dang. 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 Oh my gosh. Oh, no. Oh. Gosh, Violet crying. No. Oh, dang. Dang. Y'all, that was a sucker punch at the end. Y'all are jerks. Okay. Oh, somebody else did the translations this time. Okay. Dang. Guys, oh, okay. I was doing so good. I was like, I haven't cried yet. Just a little bit teary-eyed. And then, gosh, at the end, snuck up on me. Oh my gosh. Wow. Dang. You know, you hear that sometimes. Stories of people who knew their death is coming. Arranging to have flowers, to have letters, to have other things sent to family members and friends. If not over a short period of time. I don't know about... No, there was. But it was... I think it was a husband or his wife or vice versa. There were letters over a long period of time. Or I think they were flowers, really. Which is dang. So she's hoping her daughter will live to be at least 56 years old. That was a first for us, I think, because in terms of, you know, her being 6 years old and the letters and her being in the letter place was all happening in modern time. But we, oddly, weirdly enough, we got to see a future, actually, where at least we got to see 14 years into the future. Which, you know, we at least now can assume that Claudia's company will continue on, and that also is that as well, is that not only does the mother want these letters to be sent every year for 50 years, but also, I'm glad we stopped at 20, we didn't go beyond that, because that would have been too painful. But she also has the confidence that Claudia's company will also last for 50 some odd years, which is quite a bit of trust to put in a company. Oh, wow, okay. Snuck up on me. That was mean. You know, this episode, I was just seeing so much of just, like, Violet being Violet, but for the first time ever, we see the difference between post Gilbert realization, emotional breakdown, realizing she's on fire, pre-Violet that, and then post-Violet that, where Violet kind of seemed the same in that moment, but we see that she's not the same. Now, she's still good at schooling her features and doing all that, where she seems like the same, but we see that heartbreaking moment. Like, gosh, when Violet cries, it's just... we see that heartbreaking moment of just everything that she's been holding back for 7 days kind of coming out now. And of course, when they first met Violet, there was no emotion from her. None whatsoever. A little bit surprised here and there, but nothing. And so, of course, Erica and Iris would be just like, whoa, this is new. Because for the first time ever, she is feeling, actually, on the inside. And she's, you know, overwhelmed by her emotions. And I think part of the reason that she was able to cry there, not just because she trusts Catalina and Erica and Iris, but also because, like I said, the only time we really see Violet's emotions is when she's overwhelmed by them. And they kind of sneak up on her. And so she was holding back her tears and her sadness for so long that when she was finally in an environment where she was with people she knew she could trust, trying to keep it together, it all just broke. That was a lovely episode. That was also a very lovely standalone episode, which, yeah, I wouldn't want to watch another episode after this. It's kind of beautiful as is on its own. So that is kind of what's been great about these next handful of episodes then, is seeing now post-Gilbert realization, pre-Gilbert realization and post-Gilbert realization. I'm gonna call it that because let's call it her emotional epiphany moment, because I think that's a great standpoint. And what's also great about that moment is, yes, she has her emotional epiphany moment in episode 7, halfway through the season, but we don't really we take the time to explore exactly just her and all of that, and almost how far she's come those 2 episodes afterwards, which is very wonderful. I would love to get the light novel or novels. I feel like these would be some novels I would love to read. There's just a lot this episode, and I'm trying to remember as much as I can. Again, KyoAni does this so well, which is why it's was and is marked as one of the great studios. Is not because it's not only because its style is so just. It's like Miyazaki style. It's just boom. You know it when you see it. Once you get used to it for a little bit, it takes a little bit of time. But the way that they animate, the way the hair flips, and the way that the person stops, and then I was watching how Violet was sitting at her vanity, adjusting her hands. She's turned towards Anne, and the way that, bit by bit, Anne approaches her. I just love those little moments, and sometimes, and not every little kid just like says stuff and points at you and says things. So I think the one thing that I enjoy about anime is that there is some exaggeration in it, and I love it because in my drawing class they talk about it's important to understand before you really get into realism. You really should play around with exaggeration of movements. Yes, a person might be slightly turned, but if you're drawing them, maybe you exaggerate the turn. And we see that with anime, is that there is an exaggeration of movement, of the physics of a person, of the physics of the hair, how the hair moves. My hair doesn't, gently as I wish it would in cartoons. But there is the reality and the rules of the anime. The big giant, goblet tears, I think is the term to use, or those kind of tears. The way the eyes kind of flicker when they're emotional. The way the hair moves, the way that a person bounces. To be able to really get that down, you not only have to understand the actual physics of the world, but also you have to implement what does the physics look like in this world. And KyoAni does such a great job of they know their physics, they know the realities of the worlds they create. And they all have kind of the same realities to a degree. I'm sure you could, depending on the subject matter, I'm sure you could put a big epic, how all the KyoAni, animations are all connected, like how Disney supposedly is, which is so not true. But I love the little moments of just, I think what really stuck out to me this episode is the directing of the episode, for sure. The way that we kept getting the fall, which I guess is when the mother passed away. She died in the fall. So we see a lot of these dead leaves and all of that, and it just seems this idea of like death, like hanging over almost. But at the same time, and the way, like, there's a moment when Anne's yelling at her mom when they're in the tea room, the way the camera shoots it's going up looking between the chair and the table, the way that when they're doing a really emotional moments, when they're close-ups not far away, that the camera's kind of shaking a little bit, as if not only, because our hands slightly change, but for the most part it doesn't shake the way that does. So it's almost as if the person who's holding the camera is kind of feeling the emotions the characters are, and they're kind of shaking because of it. And just, it's like shaky cam, but not as awful to kind of deal with in terms of sometimes Hollywood does it. Sometimes their shaky cam is just not very it's too much. It's purposely shaky cam versus just like it's shaky because you happen to be on rough terrain. This one is shaky because we're dealing with emotions here. Oh, now I'm all snotty. And so there's just directing this episode was what I think really stood out to me. The moments, and gosh, there were so many moments where just beautiful, just framing, especially with certain moments between Anne and Violet, where they was just pure profile. Unless, well, I mean, sometimes Violet was turned, so that kind of profile, not really profile for her. What was great, and there's also that moment, when I said the great balance moment between when Violet and Anne were outside, and Anne has her face in Violet's dress, is that, you know, they talk about in drawing, don't put anything in the middle. You know, you want your 3/4, stuff like that. Now, but what's beautiful about that is that, you know, first of all, the balance of Anne kind of balancing Violet a little bit, like the poof of her dress, kind of that balance, taking up the middle third of the picture. But also, yes, maybe when you're starting out, you maybe should go off on thirds, but also it's not awful to have something in the freaking middle of what you're doing, of your work. And that moment of just having them in the middle, there's only one place your eyes can go, and it's on the two of them. There's nowhere else your eyes should be. You know how the deep red of Anne's dress, the deep blue, great complementary colors, deep blue of Violet's dress, just right there. The soft kind of fuzzy green behind, where you don't really notice, like aren't really paying attention to. It's just you're on them because they are the most important thing in that scene. And but also what comes down to, again, just how just beautifully directed a lot of these moments are of close-ups and not seeing the face and the way the hair moves, or when Anne's talking and she says something about her dad and the war, and the way you can see Violet kind of shift a little bit, like the way her head moves. I don't even know what her body did there. Like I don't even know. I can't even mimic it. But it was just like, oh, there's just that. And it's just so darn good. But of course, as always, as good as your directing might be, as great as your animation might be, it's nothing without a good, solid story in the center. And that crushed me. At the end, I was surprised by my emotions. They just went boom. Oh, dang it. I thought I was safe. Alright, I don't want to blather on too long. We're coming up on to 14 minutes. And I've got to record the the episode itself, and then do my editing and uploading. The only thing I will say is, not, anime related, just also, again, let me know if there are 13 episodes or 14 episodes. I want to get that down. I don't know why I'm seeing 14 episodes. I thought that was a weird number for anime. I'm excited to kind of dive into that a little bit. The other thing I wanted to say was that I was looking on my analytics, and it seems that most of the people who watch my videos tend to be really active without fail around 9 or 10 a.m., which makes me wonder, what are y'all doing with your life? Like, don't you have school? I guess not, some of you. So, I keep hopping around. Usually when the videos are late, they come in the afternoon. Unless I have multiple videos, I like to spread them out. But most of the time I put them at 6:30 a.m., 7:30 a.m., but I think that's too early. I think it's too early for me. Especially if the video is, like, doesn't quite work. I'm not going to catch it that early. So I think I'm going to start posting my videos, try to consistently post around 9 a.m. If you're like, hey, can you just not do that? Can you, like, do it 7:30 a.m. or 8:30? Like, hey, I like watching your videos on the bus ride to school, which I guess isn't happening anymore for some of you. Or it's like, no, it's more of a lunchtime thing, you know, hey, or a break time thing, which I'm cool with. But I think I want to keep my videos, try to be consistent in posting times, which is what abnormally Adam does. So I want to be consistent and not just all over the place. So I think from now on, these videos will be posted around 9 a.m. If you think, hey, no, it should be earlier or later, or I'll just I think I'll post a poll sometime beginning of next week when some more videos have come out to let you guys know, like, hey, what time of the day should I post my videos? Should I post it in the mornings, like late mornings? Should I post it in the afternoons when most people are on YouTube? But like I said, the analytics show that most people who watch my videos tend to be pretty active between around 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your enemies, and I'll see you next time.